How's it going? Just got off of work actually. Um, Doing my internship commissioning. Uh, First things first. Um, the 6 pillars. We got relationships, diversity, community, environment, families, and professionalism. The most important one to me is relationships because that's how I like smooth a lot of things over. So if there's a upset parent or upset coach or upset official, and I have to talk to them, or even one of my employees that are upset about something that's going on, communicating with them in the right way is very, very important. So I'll give you a situation for each of them. So specifically, if a coach is upset about a call or something, I'll simply explain to them why that's wrong or why it's right, and how the official made a mistake, or how just like life tools, like basically like if an official was to make a mistake, just tell them like, hey, it's life, everybody makes mistakes. That would be a good example of like one thing I normally do. Just remind them that everyone's human out here and we all make mistakes. With the players, they get upset at a call the official makes, or they get upset with one of their teammates. Like I said before, I just relate it back to life and basically how everyone makes mistakes and we can't all be perfect when we want to be. With the parents, a lot of times parents get mad at their coaches. Sometimes they get mad at the umpire, they get mad at how the game's being ran and stuff like that. But a lot of times it has to do with them not really knowing the game. We get a lot of angry moms and dads that really don't know about baseball or what it takes, to play baseball, or, certain situations. So maybe sometimes I have to explain to them that, hey, that is the right way, and your son or, whoever, Johnny or so-and-so did it the right way, but it just didn't work out in their favor that time, or something like that. My colleagues, so my title is baseball commissioner. Above me there's recreation coordinator. Above the recreation coordinator is the assistant rec director, and above that is the rec director. And so all four of us, we all work together in basically making all our leagues and scheduling games and all that stuff. I take the load on scheduling games, scheduling practices, what teams are going to be, what teams are which, and who's split up with there, picking coaches, assigning the officials, calling the organization we use, a bunch of that stuff. So I handle the load when it comes to baseball, but as far as regulating the league, getting flyers out to parents, and actually making the league go, it has a lot to do with my colleagues. I'm just really the on the field guy. So like I do all the stuff behind the scenes, but they make the rule book and things like that. I'm just the enforcer. So when I go out in the field, I'm the only one there, and I just basically answer any questions anyone has to ask. Diversity has been a big part of baseball in general, especially for me. Being African American playing baseball, it's the numbers have went down. It's only like, I believe, one stat I read, I feel like it's like 8% of black people left in Major League Baseball. So in my league, we have a lot of African American guys, but there are some guys that are different races and everything, and we even have some people that are adopted and stuff like that by other families. And it's actually really cool to see just the different cultures all mix in and they all come in together just to play baseball. No matter what they are, they all bring something cool to the table. Whether it's a accent or something like that. Kids find the littlest things pretty cool. So if like one of my guys, he's not he's not from here. I don't know exactly where he's from, but he has a pretty, like, it's an accent. It's a pretty weird accent, but when he says like baseball things, the other guys find it really cool. There's the family that I was telling you that adopted kids in. I'm actually really close with. He's one of my coaches, but he would be their foster brother. I'm actually really close with him, and I've grown close to him over the season. It's actually been really cool to just see him and his team grow as they all got along and stuff like that. Community. So along with all this stuff, without the community, we couldn't make any of this stuff go. Just because the community is how we get all our things. It's like they make sure all our stuff is funded. Without the community, we can't do anything. So without the community, we wouldn't be able to play baseball. Summer camps. So we have a summer camp, and I don't really do anything too much with the summer camp, but if we ever wanted to run like special camps or anything like that through the summer camp, like if they had a field trip one day and it was supposed to be outside and it got rained out or something like that, and they wanted me to come in and probably like just teach some baseball skills or some just skills about a sport in general, I could do it. So I use those days for like one day camps or something like that, just make up something real quick and then just go with it. The environment for the summer camp is pretty cool. The way the day goes is usually there's like before care and there's after care. So before care usually consists of just the parents drop them off at probably like 7:30 in the morning, and they have to wait. Basically, they just hang out, play around with different toys and stuff like that. And they wait until I think it's 9 o'clock when the camp actually starts, and that's when all their friends and stuff will get there. And then once their friends and stuff get there, they split up into groups. There's 3 groups. There's a orange group, a red group, and a blue group. In that order, the orange group is the youngest, the red group is the middle group, and the blue group is the oldest. So basically, what happens is they split into those 3 groups, and they have at least a few educational activities. So one time they made oobleck. It's like this like slime type stuff. They made that. I forgot what they made it with, but it's like, I think it's a pretty common experiment like most science classes and stuff do, like for the younger ages. They do that. So they try to do at least 1 or 2 of those every day, whether it's just like a crossword puzzle or something like that, just to make sure they're still getting something out of it, not just playing all the time. Families, the importance of families, that's really important, especially with like it ties to the community great, because the same family, like the families that have been here for the longest are the ones that are gonna try hard for everything we have. I was talking to and it ties to diversity as well. The diverse family that I was telling you about, they actually have been here since, he told me yesterday, they've been in Bedford since 1989. So it ties together great with how important this is, and they adopt kids, and they have 2 of their own kids, but they adopt kids and they've been doing it for a long time. So that just shows you right there that they really care about the community and how important a family is, because they're bringing kids in like they're their own, and that happens so much within the community. And another important thing about family is, getting these kids to the games and playing with them, because a lot of kids, they don't have like another role model besides, maybe their mom, or maybe they only have their mom or their dad, someone to play with. And some kids are obviously more gifted than others, but those kids are gifted because sometimes they're gifted because they have that extra help at home. They have someone, they have an older brother to play with, or things like that, or older cousin or anything, so that's how important family is, because without that, you get some kids that are misled and they don't really know what they're really getting into, and a lot of times it's challenging because they think they know a lot and they really don't. And last, professionalism. That's one thing I love. I'm actually a big fan of professionalism because it gives me an opportunity to show how mature I am. I like showing maturity because a lot of people don't really expect a younger guy like me, I'm only 22, to be able to run a whole baseball league. And I like that challenge because I love baseball, and I felt like it would be an easy task. And it hasn't always been easy. Sometimes you have bad nights where parents are screaming at you, telling you, hey, you need to do something. It gets crazy. It gets tough. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, maybe softball, baseball games or anything like how that, but arguing calls and things of that nature, it gets really rough. I couldn't even. There's been so many instances where things could have gotten out of hand, but just me knowing a lot of people from the community and just talking to them and being able to, get around the situation. Not always. Maybe I like being honest all the time, but sometimes being honest right at that moment, isn't the best thing for the kids, because if you're honest right there at the right moment, like in a situation where maybe made a bad call and you knew it was a bad call and you say, hey, like, yeah, Blue, you made a bad call. If I was to side with the fans on that one, then it would put myself in a bad situation, because the association that I pay, the umpires, they wouldn't trust me. So when I'm at the games and I'm siding with the fans or, telling them they're wrong, it looks bad on the whole community, on the whole rec center. So how I deal with player misconduct, that's another thing as far as professionalism. Like today, for instance, we had a big discussion about contact, about sliding to give up. So in the rule book, it states that when there's a close play at any base, a player has to slide. And the umpire brought it to my attention, and he said that was the only thing that it said in the rule book. So he basically telling me that every play that was kind of close, the players had to slide or they were out. And I didn't agree with it because I knew the rule, and the rule states that each player must slide at any base that the play is at or avoid the contact. And that's what he missed on he didn't include that in his saying. So when he told me that, it took me back for a minute because I thought he was right. But then I looked at it and it said or avoid contact, because if a kid is playing and it's a close play, but he tries to avoid the contact and he goes around it and he doesn't try to do anything malicious, then it doesn't matter if he's sliding or not. He shouldn't be penalized for not sliding. So that was one thing I had to deal with today as far as player misconduct. It wasn't really the players; it was just something that they could possibly do, and I'd have to suspend them, eject them, or punish them in some way or form. Coaches misconduct. We don't tolerate cursing of any sorts. Obviously, you can't put your hands on the kids. You know that. But there has been a few instances where some fans have been out of control, and the only job we really give our coaches is basically control their fans. And a lot of times they don't control their fans, so it makes my job as commissioner harder, because when they don't control their fans, I have to control the fans. Then once I control the fans, then that's when we get into verbal disagreements or something like that, and it takes it somewhere where it doesn't have to go. With that being said, I'm pretty much done. I really enjoy my job. I really enjoy being the commissioner of baseball. The whole internship, it was a great experience. Although I did it before, this is my second year, so I really knew what to expect. I thought I knew what to expect, but last year we didn't have a rec director or assistant rec director, so I really did everything on my own last year. And this year, they've thrown some curveballs at me, I must say. We've done a lot of things differently, things that I didn't expect, but it has went well. Tonight was our semi-final game. Tomorrow will be our championship game, if the weather allows us. But other than that, the internship was great, and that's all I got.